He thought he was watching her, but she was watching him. He thought he was trespassing, but he was invited. He knew he had gone too far. He couldn't stop. He saw exactly what she wanted him to see. Brian De Palma, the modern master of suspense, invites you to witness a seduction, a mystery, a murder. Body Double. You can't believe everything you see.
Welcome to the latest episode of the podcast That Wouldn't Die. I'm your host, Kevin. With me, as always, is Aaron.
Hello there.
This week, we'll be discussing the horror thriller porno film.
Oh my god. It's as if Brian De Palma just spat a loogie right into Hitchcock's mouth.
Pretty much. The Brian De Palma classic Body Double, starring Melanie Griffith and others.
And all the rest.
So, Aaron, give us your 30-second synopsis of Body Double.
A shitty PV actor, makes people feel sorry for them, so they splash a mansion on them and shows them that if you look in the telescope, you can see, porn done by mimes or something. And then and then part of his stalking, he notices another stalker. Well, his stalking is good and healthy. The other stalker is bad and creepy. For sure, he tries to put one in, but is thwarted. Then again, here comes Melanie Griffith, who's a porn star, but she still has that voice. Whatever. Solves the crime. There's a body double. The end.
Nicely done. Amazing.
I thought
Amazing,
so.
even.
I thought so.
Had you ever seen this before?
I thought I had seen it before, and maybe I have. Maybe I was confusing it with the one with the De Palma Dress to Kill. I think I was confusing it with Dress to Kill.
Okay. I remember hearing about this movie as a kid. Like, one of my friends, this is after my parents had turned off the HBO in the house. One of my friends still had HBO. And it was summer camp, and he's regaling us with the highlights of Body Double. Right. So I was vaguely familiar with it. And then I did wind up seeing it, I don't know, 20 years ago as an adult-ish type person. So
it literally stars two of the worst actors of the 80s.
Who's the other one?
The male lead? The male lead.
The male lead.
As soon as he rolled his ass in, I was like, "Oh man!"
Do you even know what his name is? What do you think?
It's like Wasson or something. I didn't even write it down. Yeah,
Craig Wasson. And you act like you're very familiar with his oeuvre. What else have you even seen him in?
Whatever he's been in has been shitty.
Oh, Craig, if you're listening, no offense.
As soon as he rolled it, because he always plays this kind of, pardon my French, a real pussified kind of guy.
A little too sensitive.
Pussified and creepy.
We got to jump right in, because right out of the gate, this movie is ridiculous. He is, right, the dude, Craig Wasson, is Jake Scully, who is, I guess he's starring, and he says, in a low-budget horror movie called The Vampire's Kiss, where he plays the punk rock vampire dude.
With the silver glitter eyes? I wasn't sure if it wasn't just Billy Idol rising from his grave right now.
Exactly. Clearly, the outfit was inspired by Billy Idol.
Oh,
Billy Idol as a vampire wearing lipstick, basically, is what we're going for.
It's like if Kiefer Sutherland from The Lost Boys, reprised the role trying to look the same, except 20 years from now.
Right. Sadly. There are a lot of scenes of him just driving his old car, just kind of smiling whimsically to himself. It's like, we don't need to see the entire drive. Just smash cut, he's where he's supposed to be. I think the audience would appreciate that. The sad thing is that he arrives at his house with like a neon sign like on the wall that says like Jake Hearts Carol, like letting us know we're in trouble. Like
Yeah.
he thinks everything's cool as he arrives, and you can hear the loud sounds of lovemaking coming pounded through the walls, and he's willfully like oblivious. He's
The
like,
headboard's coming through the drywall.
I mean, the popcorn sealant is literally kind of filtering down like an earthquake has just hit. He is like, what's that noise? So strange. Their apartment was bloody huge, by the way. It took him 10 minutes looking in every nook and cranny to finally make his way to the bedroom where we see.
Where's that sound coming from? Under the phone book? Is there a rat under the sink?
Pretty much. And then it's like he opens the door briefly, and we see Carol, played by Barbara Crampton, which we've seen in other such things as From Beyond, for example, Reanimator, Castle Freak. She has no lines. Just literally, she's naked as a jaybird, mid sexual throws, just kind of turns, looks at him, not surprised, not remorseful, not like, oh, Jake, I'm sorry you had to see. Just kind of like,
It was like
sorry.
a look of disdain. It hearkened to Boogie Nights with the one wife, William H. Macy's wife, who is always, having sex with 30 people just standing around. And she's like, stops, is like, you're killing the fun. Get out of here. F off.
Would you close the door on your way out? Kind of move.
Do you mind? That was it. Barbara Crampton flashing the look of, do you mind? We're busy.
I mean, this is a sad situation. When you think everything, not just everything's okay, but like we are madly in love, and your wife or girlfriend, I guess is what she is, gives you the, yeah, you caught me red-handed. Too bad.
Close the door on your way out. Literally, either she's some kind of psychopath,
right,
or weirdo dude has got like a whole other a side story. Like what has he done in this relationship to where she doesn't even like try to like cover herself up? She just gives him the stink eye, like,
Yeah, and he did not even have the whiff of suspicion. Not like literally, he's walking in there. The sounds of vigorous lovemaking echoing through the neighborhood, and he's totally caught off guard. He's like, "Well, that can't be what it obviously is."
That's right up there with the. I knew you were coming home, and I wasn't sure how to tell you I'm really done with this. So when the Sparkless man came. The Amazon delivery dude arrived. I was like, "Hey, I need you to help me send a message."
Hey, Colligan man, yeah, she dropped that on him. No, and not to mention the thankless role of Barbara Crampton on stage for, I swear to God, 3 seconds, bone naked, no lines.
They got lots of money. De Palma had too much money for this. Hiring Frankie Goes to Hollywood? Come on.
We got to talk about that as well. Yes. Later in the movie, Jake is like investigating the crime as they always do in these movies. The cops can't help. I got to handle this myself. And literally is like, I know I'm trying to be a working actor, but I'm just going to dabble in porn. Just to get to the bottom of this, there's a scene where the guy's like, because you thought he was like, well, I'll go undercover as if I'm going to, audition for the porn movie, but I'm not really going to. But when the guy's like, yeah, you need to get naked so we can take some pictures, he's like, okay, smash cut. He's in the movie.
And the most fascinating thing about this whole thing is they immediately star this total stranger off the street with like the #1 star, and surprising for a porno, They're having sex fully dressed. How about
I
that?
made that note. I'm like, we're supposed to think they had sex, right? Because
Yes.
I mean, I guess we see Melanie Griffith's cheeks, her bare cheeks.
At one point, she's completely naked. Just for dancing's sake. Not during the actual sex act. Not where another human is involved.
That is correct. That is correct.
I mean, I could have been her gynecologist. We saw almost every bit.
Every nook and cranny,
Yeah.
if you will. But you're right. It's like smash cut. He's in the porno. It was basically a Frankie Goes to Hollywood music video.
Yes, Frankie.
Frankie himself was in the video, leading him around to relax, don't do it. Like the whole band was there. If you look around, all of Frankie Goes to Hollywood was. I guess they're now in porn as well. So that's good
right.
Good to know. Sweet.
Well, no matter how you swing, porn is popular to men, whatever your orientation.
Well, I mean, okay. Frankie Goes to Hollywood had one hit. And it was a hit. It was a major hit. But I mean, imagine it's like Duran Duran. They're like, hey, Duran Duran, we'd like to use girls on film for our porno. How would you like to star in the show? Sure, sounds good.
You obviously haven't seen any of the European cuts of their music videos. They are porn. It's just that they're fully dressed.
Okay, that
it's
makes more sense.
Naked women crawling hands and knees up to them.
This movie is bonkers. Okay, we have to explain a little bit of what's going on. So it's basically a Rear Window meets Vertigo ripoff, right?
Oh yeah.
Like we've talked about this before. Brian De Palma basically worships the altar of Hitchcock.
Everybody do.
It's like his are homages, air quotes, where they're basically just ripoffs, in my mind. So he gets dumped by his girlfriend, and he's looking for a place to stay, and a stranger appears on the scene and basically says, "Hey, you can have house sit for me, a friend of a friend, the super expensive house on a crazy stock, like a stilt house."
It looked like a UFO. Was amazing.
Yes. Rent free, just water the plants. And by the way, if you look through this telescope at 5:30 every night, you will see an erotic dance go down in the neighbor's house every night. Every damn night. And, okay, look. I'm a red-blooded American male. I would definitely, if you tell me that, I'm going to look, but I ain't setting my alarm to it. I'm not like, I got to get home by 5:30 to catch the next show.
If you just happen, you set your alarm, but you're not racing home. If you just happen to be home and the alarm goes off, is that what you're saying?
Well, okay. Granted. If it's a rerun of Dallas that evening, I will tune in to the other show. But anyway, the good thing is whenever he happens to look through the telescope, something crucial to the plot is going on, whether it's 5:30 or not, basically, right? So he sees the dancing woman, the neighbor. Next thing he knows, I have to stalk her. I have to follow her around town in my car. And when she goes to the mall, I have to do he's literally 2 feet behind her.
He's the worst. The worst detective. I would have immediately noticed him and called the police. He's going to protect her, right? And therefore she'll give it up because he's such a handsome, strong man who saved her.
I mean, this is the hero of the movie, but he is a stalker of the highest order.
Oh,
And a peeper. When the cops later call him, it's like our only witness to the murder is a peeping Tom. You're like, yeah, that is true. I mean, he's kind of like offended. What do you mean? I mean, he absolutely is. I mean, this is somebody, this is bad. This is a crime. This is a crime that he's committing repeatedly. Stalking is a crime. So, good times.
Well, the interesting thing is we don't really see the girl's face.
Not when she's doing her exotic dance in the window over
Which
and
in
over.
retrospect makes no sense. Why wouldn't we have seen her face?
Well, and the dude, Sam Bouchard, literally asked him, "Oh, did you see her face?" He's like, "I can't really see her face from way the hell up here. I could see all the other bits and pieces, but not because I guess it's kind of shadowy over the face, and she has her dark hair kind of swinging down. I guess, right?"
And every other time you're able to see her clearly.
Who
What was she wearing her hair like Samira? Is that what you do?
That's what they do. That's what they do. So he's watching her over the course of the movie, and what he realizes is like some dude, some suspicious character shows up at her house and kind of smacks her around. And then later in the movie, he sees a peculiar Native American who's using some kind of a sander on the satellite dish that's making sparks go up that anybody like in NASA could see. Who's now another peeper. So I guess that kind of precipitates why he's like, I've got to follow you, I guess. That's my excuse, because there was a mean Native American who was chasing, like looking at you.
Who was clearly had some of the worst makeup you ever saw. I was like, what the hell? And then I look at him, I was like, well, this has to be a reveal. Nobody would do makeup this shitty.
Well, did you figure out what the reveal was?
Logan Huntsberger's father from Gilmore Girls.
None of that means anything to me.
You didn't. Your wife didn't watch Gilmore Girls?
She did, but that's when I leave the room.
I can't remember. I don't know the actor's name, but no, I didn't put that together.
You didn't put it together. Okay.
I didn't put it together. Is he the husband? Or he just hired it out?
Oh, you did? Okay. I don't know about Gilmore Girls. But, okay, the grand reveal is that Sam Bouchard, and this is the part where the plot falls apart. He was looking for a patsy because Sam Bouchard is actually, what the heck was his name? Alexander Revelle, who was married to Gloria Revelle, who allegedly is the dancing woman. We find out she's not really the dancing woman either, but she's the woman who lives in that house.
Well, here's the weird thing is that our anti-hero only meets him because they have a mutual friend.
Which also doesn't make sense either. Because clearly, I mean, this guy Alexander Revelle is obviously a millionaire.
Right.
A multi-millionaire.
Now they're saying it was all the wife's money.
Okay. Maybe that's what it is. But he's not a working actor, right?
Yeah, so how do people know him then?
Right. So Jake is going to an interview for, what is it, the Shakespeare Festival or whatever. Right. And he meets an acquaintance. He's like, oh, they're all chit-chatting. How's it going? He's like, oh, man, I'm looking for a place to stay. And then Sam pops up wearing his sensitive silk scarf and goes like, hey, how's it going? To the mutual friend that he knew somehow, which doesn't make any sense. Because why is he traveling in these circles? Unless this was a long con. I've been attending acting classes for years, just in case. So then when he discovers that the dude, his girlfriend cheated on him, he's out on the street, basically. So I guess the idea is he is kind of down on his luck, but he's also kind of heartbroken. So therefore, he's more susceptible to being a peeping Tom.
Well, that's what happens after the breakup comes the sex crimes.
That's like from point A to point B. Standard.
I mean, Kevin, it doesn't make any sense because how do you know it? Like this, not only do you have to show up at a certain time, you have to believe that the show starts at a certain time, or since you're setting this up for a stranger. What's to guarantee he's ever going to look in there again? Or maybe he's gay. Maybe he just doesn't give a shiz.
Well, is Sam Bouchard just hitting all the auditions and like listening in case some lonely heart dude's like, hey, my girlfriend just kicked me out? What if that never happens?
It's not enough that you let him flop at your house. You also have to guarantee that at the exact moment that they're all going to be looking. All the stars have to align for your pervy peep show.
So his plan, which we figure out later, is that he is setting Jake Scully up to be the witness. So he's like, come and watch Naked Dancing Woman at 5:30 every night. Okay. And then one night she will be murdered, but you'll be able to say it wasn't her husband who did it. It was a strange Native American on the scene.
It was Injun Joe from oh my god, now I've totally forgotten.
Huckleberry Finn?
Huckleberry Finn and Injun Joe
There
killed
you
him, creeping the the hills above Beverly Hills.
That's what the whole scheme is, basically. So the night of the murder, if you're paying attention, Sam Bouchard literally calls and says, "Hey, how's it going? So, are you watching that girl?" And he's calling from the house right before he murders her.
Right.
Just to confirm, hey, you might want to check out this, and opens up the blinds so that he can see and therefore exonerate the soon-to-be ex-husband, I guess. That's the thought process behind this.
Because no one ever heard of murder for hire.
Right. He could have just hired somebody to do this, I guess.
Some jackass. Instead of it, like, I mean, too many things have to line up in your overly complex bullshit. This is why it's not Alfred Hitchcock.
It's not, because again, it goes back to number one. He had to be at the right place at the right time of that audition to hear Jake Scully going, "Oh man, Carol just kicked me out and she's cheating with the Culligan man." Right? To set him up, because then it's like, then suddenly he's like, Sam shows up at his next audition. "Hey, Jake, good to see you again." And then shows up to his acting class. He's like, "Jake, let's get out of here and go get a drink. I know we are strangers."
It was an instant bond because he must have known that the acting teacher was doing some crazy method bullshit. It was breaking him down, so he protected him, and then they bonded. And so still, you get him into the UFO. What if this dude gets a gig the next day? You don't know. And then he's like only sleeps in the house. He's not hanging out. Maybe he meets someone the next day. It's one thing getting the free show. The other thing is actually being in the show.
Well, and that's the thing. Jake is a working actor when the movie begins, right? He's in this movie. He's going to be the vampire in The Vampire's Kiss. Now, during the filming, he gets fired because he suffers from claustrophobia.
Unlike Vertigo, where it's vertigo.
Right. So it's like when he's in the coffin, it's too constrictive and he freezes up so he can't do his lines, basically.
Right.
You're right. It's like the whole thing starts to fall apart. And not to mention, so he starts stalking Gloria, allegedly the woman dancing in the window, and the Indian steals her purse. So I guess this was part of the plan too. Like Jake was supposed to become so enamored with Gloria that he was going to stalk her so that the Native American, can steal her purse and steal the key card because Sam would already have the key card.
I don't think that part really matters as much.
But he had to be able to get into the apartment.
But Jake didn't need to be there for that. He just needed to steal her passcode. It didn't matter if there was a witness, really.
Well, but then it's like, how do we know how? I mean, I guess because she can't tell somebody. Oh, I mean,
I understand what you mean for the movie, but logically, we don't need to have the peeper witnessing the purse theft.
I don't know. I think for the plot to work, I get who knows. The plot doesn't work if you look at it very closely.
Well, and doesn't the guy who is dressed up as the native person has the craziest walk? It's like half Chaka. I don't know what.
Let's go back to Chaka with you. It can't always be Chaka from the Land of the Lost.
They can't. Jesus. He had strange Planet of the Apes movements.
Well, okay, so he had a native, frankly, an offensive Native American like mask on
And a
and
long ponytail.
long ponytail, and then he was wearing kind of what is like a denim vest with like a mesh shirt
Oh, yeah.
underneath.
I wrote that down. More mesh shirts. We need
George
more.
Michael would have liked that mesh shirt. I mean, that's what we're talking about. This is the 80s, so anything goes, I guess, at this stage of the game. So Jake tries to chase down the Native American who stole the purse, and he freezes because they're in a tunnel, and something about the tunnel gives him the claustrophobia again. And Gloria kind of goes, she finds her purse and helps Jake out of the tunnel.
He then immediately tries it on with her because shoing.
Well, and she goes, "You've been following me, haven't you?" And he's like, now that you mention, why don't we just make out? And she's in.
And she's into it. This is off of the twisted mind of Brian De Palma.
They're in an alley next to the beach, and it's literally like the music, where it's like the cameras, the wind's blowing through their hair as the camera like literally rotates around them. And it's like they were about to have sex on the beach. They've never met before.
It's so ridiculous. And we need to just talk about the music. It is so loud and heavy-handed and ridiculous.
And it was not just we're kissing passionately. It's like we're kissing and I'm grabbing your boob and I'm undoing your blouse.
The shirt's undone, everything.
There was like a volleyball team right there. It's like we're putting on. They're at the beach.
Fucking Long Beach. This isn't like you're in an alcove in Tahiti away from everybody else. This is a major beach in an industrial. It's like the second largest port in California.
It was like if this literally happened in Venice Beach. There's a juggler walking by. There's a homeless guy pushing a cart. They're just getting down.
Where were all the homeless people in the tunnel? That's what I wanted to know.
That's what I'm wondering too. Oh, sweet Jesus. So Jake goes home and is like, I've got to call Gloria. How does he know Gloria's number? We don't know. Did she give him this number? I don't remember.
I don't remember that either. Maybe he found it while he was going through her purse.
So he's looking through the thing at her again. And she goes home, and now there's the Native American upstairs getting jewels out of the safe. And they never explain how the stranger who's a Native American was able to open the safe and steal jewels.
Is that drill the hole?
Okay, well maybe that's why he had this gigantic drill. I guess that makes sense. So now it's like, oh my God. And of course he tries to call, but you can't get to her in time. She's being attacked by the guy upstairs. He goes running down the street and meets two joggers along the way. And they all go, but of course they get there too late. She's murdered by the driller.
Oh my
Native
God.
American.
Another most phallic scene. It literally, you have the Native American, the fake American, with his legs splayed open, standing over her with this giant fat drill slowly swinging back and forth, and then plunging in. It was obscene. It was obscene, and he's drilling her.
Yeah. Oh God, we get it.
To the floor. And chunks of meat are falling on our hero while her dog is eating it, because her dog only attacks the people who are trying to save her.
That's correct. Well, and that's a reveal. The dog never barked at the Native American. So it's like a grand reveal. It's like it all makes sense. So he runs upstairs. Of course, she's dead. And the Native American like sneaks out behind him. But aren't there two joggers downstairs? How did you find them?
Past them, and then when they saw they had to climb a fence, they went back. They put their headphones back on and kept going.
They said, "We're out." I got to go back to the stalking. I'm looking at my notes. He is so obvious. So she goes into a lingerie place, and there's just like lingerie, just like laying on the floor or something.
Oh my God.
Underwear on the floor.
This guy is such a creep. He is our hero is such a creep, pervy creep.
So he's pressed up against the plate glass window of this shop, staring intently. She takes the underwear off the floor. The lady puts her in a changing room. Do you try on underwear? Is
No,
that how?
you're not allowed to try it on. You have to keep your pants. See, once again, written by men. First of all, like your bathing suits, you're supposed to try them over your underwear.
Yeah, she's not doing that. And she's not closing the curtain either. So we get a full show of her trying on the underwear. And he's like pressed up, like waiting for the Mervyn's New Year's Day sale.
Oh my God.
Open. And it's so upsetting that the lady behind the counter's like, we got to get security down here. This guy's freaking me out.
I'm going to lock the door and bang the glass.
Pretty much. And then she throws the underwear away.
Which makes no sense either. You bought a single pair of underwear at the lingerie store and then proceed to drop it in the trash.
And of course, being a freaking sicko that he is, he digs the underwear out of the trash and puts it in his pocket.
Oh my God.
He's irredeemable.
He is just, you can't feel sorry. Now you know why when he walked in on his wife, she was like, and...
And now Gloria was meeting somebody at the beach. Like she was on the phone. Was she supposed to be meeting her husband? Is that what that was?
Friend. No, because she was complaining he hit me again. So she must have been meeting a friend or something.
But we never saw the other friend.
No, she's there she went to the beach for 5 minutes. And then immediately left and went home with a security guard. That's it.
So weird. It makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
So she's murdered, and he's now the prime. Well, I guess they don't think he's the prime suspect because the kindly joggers reveal that he wasn't the murderer. But his story doesn't make a lot of sense, and they all think the police all think rightfully that he is some kind of weird sex pervert,
which he is.
So he and further established, he goes back up to the spaceship apartment and is watching porn. He's like, I just witnessed a grisly murder. I got to get some porn on in here.
Man, so man, sex and death. It's one or the other. They don't care which it is. Snuff films. Do you think it was the ladies?
So, I mean, look. If that's your cup of tea, whatever floats your boat, I might take off that night for the porn to say, like, maybe not tonight. Not in the mood tonight.
Wait,
not so much.
Are you talking about snuff films?
I'm talking about snuff. If you're into snuff.
Let's talk about snuff, baby. Let's talk about it.
So while he's watching this, he sees Melanie Griffith doing the same, like, exotic dance. Which, frankly, it's so it's a lot of
an ass shake followed by a master bait. That's her move.
That's the way they described it, but it was a lot of like white girl at the club kind of dance moves. Is what I saw. And he's like
stunned that you're looking right up at Melanie Griffith's ass that you forget that. I'm like, and she's thin as a rail. This is before her Bonfire of the Vanities breast implants.
This is, yes, you see all of Melanie. All of it. But it makes him go like, what the hell? That can't be a coincidence. She's doing the exact same erotic dance. And that's when he goes and auditions. First he runs to Tower Records to get a copy of Holly Does Hollywood, which is the movie starring Melanie Griffith. And watches that, and then goes to the audition.
Let me just say, nowadays with TikTok, oh my God, 2 people know the same effing dance. That one of them must be a murderer, or you just learned the dance move.
I mean, let's be honest. She was basically doing the Cabbage Patch. I mean, it was not.
I will not argue with that.
So after
she was doing the hustle, it wasn't anything overly elaborate. It's an ass shake and a master bait. That's what it is. That's the choreography. You don't need Debbie Allen to do that choreography.
this wasn't the lost episode of Fame, is what you're saying? Um, so
good reference there.
Thank you. So then he pretends to be like a producer to Melanie Griffith because he's trying to find out.
Producer just means you put gel in your hair because it is the 80s.
Wear a big leather jacket, the big belt buckle, and slick your hair back, and you're good to go. It was a funny scene because they're out at Spago's or whatever, and as they're leaving, some acting acquaintance of his rolls up. He goes, "Hey, how's it going? Have you heard about any new parts? Anything for me?" And he's like, "No, we got to go because I'm here with a porn star."
Yeah.
And Holly turns around, he was like, "You know what? You should call Bleez Blahs. You don't have a problem working with women, do you?" "Oh, no." It's like, good job. Give him a call. I thought that was a funny moment.
Yep, that was that and the Frankie Goes to the Holly. It's two best parts of the whole movie. The rest you can just scrape off into the trash.
Oh, very sad. Very sad.
Did I break your heart?
It makes my heart hurt. That's really what it is. But at this point, Jake has like figured out the entire movie. He says, clearly Sam is the one who set me up to see this. He hired you to do this. And so that I would witness the murder. So Sam, he's like, I mean, he's figured out 99% of the plot.
Once she says, "Yeah, that's the name, that's the voice of the dude that called me,"
but he suspected it before then. That's why when Sam called and Sam's like, "You need to get the hell out of my apartment. My wife is dead. I don't need you to be peeping anymore. Hit the bricks, pal." But he already suspected. Jake already suspected. So he's like, when Sam calls, he's like, "Okay, well, listen to his voice. Is this the guy?" She's like, "Yeah, that's the guy." And that's the whole plot. The only surprise at the end is when the oh God, Holly Body rightfully again thinks that Jake is a sex pervert or some kind of maniac. So she runs off down the street.
Which he is. You should run.
And jumps into the car of the Native American driving like a Ford Bronco.
Yeah, see, here's the thing. The now murdered character passed the Native American dude like 100 times with no ounce of recognition.
Correct. Because he's that good of an actor. Maybe Sam has been going to the acting classes down there in LA.
There you go.
Sweet Jesus. So then there was a big car accident randomly because Melanie Griffith causes a 2-car accident.
She's in Topanga Canyon running up, standing in the middle of a blind curve dressed as a hooker. And yet cars are blazing past her.
Right. Yeah. It isn't until she literally jumps in front of the Ford Bronco that anybody stops. So at this point, Jake realizes, oh no, now Holly's in danger from the maniac Native American. So now I'm chasing him. The police literally stop all the cars because there's a huge car accident. The guy pulls a crowbar, a tire iron out in full view of 50 cops and bops Holly on the head.
It's ridiculous. I think at this point I was already picked up my phone going, I wonder what people are doing tonight on the Insta.
Oh, it's American Horror Story, to say the least. Anyway, neither here nor there. Jake saves the day. For some bizarre reason, he brought the dog. The crazy Native American brought the dog. He's fighting with Jake. Jake pulls his mask off. Oh no, it's Sam, who's really Alexander Revelle. The dog escapes from the back of the Ford Bronco and for some reason knocks them both into Sam and the dog into the, what is it? The waterworks, the canal.
I think that's literally the frickin' California aqueduct over there by Magic Mountain.
Yeah, from Chinatown. So knocks them in, and that's the end of them. Holly, of course, didn't see anybody because she was hit on the head with a tire iron. So there's no reason why Jake still isn't arrested. So who the hell knows? He gets his job back. Holly's on set for some reason. The end. Good times. Oh my Sweet God. Jesus.
I wrote like 4 things down. I hate just being the spoiler sometimes.
Oh, I love it.
But Now, I was trying to figure out, while he's in bed the first night, he's clearly watching an 80s video, but I tried to figure out what it was because it looked vaguely familiar.
Right. It's the 80s. The guy's in like a round bed, like a water bed type thing that circulates and turns around. First night he's watching 80 like MTV, I guess. This is before VH1. And then the second night he's watching porn to celebrate the murder that he just witnessed. So good times. They had all the channels, evidently.
Or at least the two.
Those are the only two channels you need in 1984. Let's be honest.
Honestly, the best part is the Frankie Goes to Hollywood video in the middle. The rest, who cares? It just is creepy and it doesn't make sense.
Well, okay, yes. The plot is shaky. It's built on a bizarro foundation because it's got to be somebody who sets you up, who doesn't know who you are, and doesn't know your relationship with your wife, basically. That you have a contentious relationship. So it's got to be, oh God. And they wanted to, because it's body double, which is a Hollywood term that kind of eventually folds back in, because Holly was the body double for Gloria, because Gloria isn't doing exotic dances, but she's down to get down at the beach with strangers. So maybe Sam should have just gone to his wife and said, "Hey, do you mind doing a couple dances in the window?" Who knows?
And then at the end, so our hero gets his vampire job back.
Yes, inexplicably.
For no apparent reason. And then while he was in the shallow grave, or not the shallow, the super deep grave that someone would have taken 12 hours to dig, then he's hallucinating. So I started wondering half the time, is this real or is this one of his hallucinations? Because why is he hallucinating inside the effing grave about now he's back with Sipowicz, and except now he's not a vampire. So half the time I kept thinking, is this really happening?
Well, I think that at that moment, because Sam was about to bury Jake and Holly alive, that in his fugue state, he imagines he's back on the Vampire's Kiss set, and that allows him to overcome his claustrophobia.
Yeah, well, 40 minutes later, there would have been 3 feet of dirt on top of your head, dude. And then going back, why is he back in that role? And why does the movie end with the real kind of body double, and except he's just squeezing her tits with a close-up on the credits?
Well, I think they were trying
misogynist thing. Ridiculous, Brian De Palma.
I think the idea is the average person has no idea what a body double is. So it's like the title of the movie's Body Double. At no time does Jake turn to Holly Body and be like, "Well, you were his body double," or you were her body double. So it's like now that at the end during the closing credits, they're establishing what a real body double is. They have the cute actress with a cute face in the shower. And then when it's time to show her chest, because she's just wearing a bathing suit, they pull her out and they pull Chesty LaRue in there, who's not quite so cute, but has big boobs. Just to film those areas.
So it's just giant hands with like a nipple sticking out between the hairy knuckles for the entire end credits. Monsters.
No complaints from this angle. Good times. Shall we talk about behind the scenes?
You gave me Kirk Douglas, so I guess we're even.
That's exactly right. You get Kirk Douglas. I get young nubile Melanie Griffith. This was actually like the movie that kind of made her a star, shockingly enough.
God, and men love her. They just love her. I find her acting terrible and her voice irritating.
Well, she's Tippi Hedren's daughter.
Yes, that doesn't make it better.
No. I'm not. I'm just telling a story. And she was always like in the 70s when she was young and she was like married to Don Johnson.
Yeah.
She was basically considered, she liked to play up this kind of young vixen type, like a Lolita type for some reason. This was her thing. And like with her mom's blessing, I guess. So when this role came around, it was like perfect for her because that kind of matched what people thought of her, the persona that she kind of put out. Because you're right, it's that kind of weird thing where it's just hypersexualized with like a little baby girl persona.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
a weird combination.
So interesting. She was considered super hot because when I was listening to the podcast of Back to Bonfire of the Vanities, they wanted her role to be something they called the devil's candy, something so hot that you would abandon everything to be with her. And their thought was, well, Melanie Griffith.
Well, she'd played roles like that prior to this, or prior to that movie as well.
So people obviously loved her. It's just that halfway through the production, she got a boobs job. So then they had to try to find ways to cover that up for the rest of the production.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Brian De Palma, the director, who we've been on a run. We've done quite a few Brian De Palma movies lately.
Losing more respect by the minute. Once again, Carrie is the apex.
He's the master of the macabre. I think we can all agree on that.
I don't think we can agree on that.
He originally planned for this movie to be the first Hollywood film to boast unsimulated sex scenes. The studio thought differently. They're like, oh, no, you're not, pal.
What? He was going to have actual intercourse with Melanie Griffith?
He was going to backstage, I think was his plan.
That was part of the audition, Mr. Weinstein.
Exactly. Pretty much. The distinctive futuristic octagon-shaped top of the hills ultra-modern house is known as the Chemisphere. It was a famous landmark in Hollywood, and it was designed by modernist architect John Lauder in 1960. So it's a real place.
Oh yeah, it looks fantastic. I would rip out all of that bad furniture, but
I mean, it was made to look like some kind of sex dungeon.
Spaceship. No, I think honestly, it was made to look like 1980s guy super whatever it was definitely the sex dungeon with the rotating bed, which would give me the spins, and if you vomit with your sex, that would be perfect.
Of course it would be a yucky time, let's just say that. The Frankie Goes to Hollywood Relax rock clip porn film sequence featured a penthouse pinup, Lindsay Freeman, adult film stars Annette Haven and Cara Lott, and horror scream queen Brink Stevens. So if you're watching, they don't have lines. They're just kind of wandering around in the background in that music video scene. So there you go.
One of those chicks was supposed to play the Melanie Griffith role.
Cara Lott.
So what I read was both of their screen tests were perfect. The only reason that it went to Melanie Griffith is because Melanie's funny.
Well, but it was also the studio was like, we're not having a porn actress as the star of the show. They pulled the ripcord on all this stuff. We're like, we're not doing that. Come on, get it together. De Palma got the idea for this movie because of the great body double debacle with Angie Dickinson from Dressed to Kill.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because that meant we talked about that then. That's that same kind of thing.
Angie Dickinson's pubic hair. No, you didn't.
Well, it's like close up of Angie Dickinson's face, smash cut to here are her boobs as she's washing them for 20 minutes. Yeah, that's how it works.
You're going to get an infection or something if you're scrubbing it that hard. Get the lava soap.
Lava. Exactly. In the novel, you should know this, American Psycho, this movie is Patrick Bateman's favorite movie, and he's read it over 37 times.
That's so fantastic.
In American Psycho.
That's fantastic.
Exactly. Dennis Franz based his portrayal of the director on Brian De Palma.
Fantastic. I love that.
Very upsetting. Let's
Clearly,
see.
They're besties now, because now he's putting them in every freaking role.
This was the last one. He was like in 5 straight or something.
Yeah. Was there a schism?
At this point, he was Andy. He was then on Hill Street Blues about this point.
Oh my God, Hill Street Blues was the best.
They dubbed the Gloria character's voice for some reason. So it was very upsetting. They dubbed her with an actress named Helen Shaver. This is like another movie where it's just like, we're just dubbing them. We think you're. They did this to.
Dub Melanie Griffith.
Oh, how dare you!
Oh my God, her voice is so irritating.
It's like the thing
love
to
you,
do.
Melanie.
It's cheaper if we don't like your performance. It's cheaper just to dub you than to go back and refilm this with another actor or actress.
Oh my God.
Let's see what else. Yeah, Melanie Griffith said that her role in this movie greatly contributed to her landing the lead female roles in both Something Wild, which she did with Jeff Daniels a couple years later, and Working Girl in '88.
I liked Working Girl. That seemed an appropriate role for her.
Well, she's playing like she's from Jersey, or something like that.
Yeah,
Good
she
times.
was still irritating.
The Frankie Goes to Hollywood sequence was filmed on the same set of the dance club from Fright Night.
Okay.
Boom! It all comes back together.
Oh Lord.
Very upsetting. Actually, what else? I think that's it. And an actual adult film actress took the name Holly Body after Melanie Griffith's performance in this movie.
Did she get the Holly tattoo on her rumpus too?
If only. Let's see. Barbara Crampton, this is her first movie role. That's why she has no lines and she just appears there naked. So
she's like, hey.
Immediately after this, she went on to be on like Young and the Restless and Days of Our Lives and things like that. And that springboarded her to Reanimator and From Beyond.
Wait,
so very good.
From Naked Wiggler jumped her into the soap operas? I thought it would have jumped her over with her friends in the porn industry.
Oh, very upsetting. Tatum O'Neal, Jamie Lee Curtis, Carrie Fisher, all auditioned for the role of Holly Body. Brooke Shields was offered the role, but turned it down. Linda Hamilton turned down the role to be in Terminator instead.
I can't even imagine. I'm visualizing Brooke Shields. Honestly, has she acted since The Blue Lagoon? Has she actually, besides TV commercials, does she act?
We saw her in a Hallmark movie not long ago.
There you go.
There you go. Good times. We talked about this. Dennis Franz. This is the fifth and final collaboration with De Palma. His other movies are Blowout, The Fury, which also stars Kirk Douglas, Scarface, and Dress to Kill. So there you go. Good times. I think that's all we need to know. Shall we talk about the cast? We already talked about Brian De Palma as the writer and director of this interesting thing.
So do you think Sipowicz is just a tiny version of Brian De Palma?
Yes.
Okay.
I do think that.
They do look similar.
They are twins, actually. Craig Wasson played Jake. You know him from A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors.
Yeah.
He played the sympathetic psychiatrist.
Yeah, sympathetic, wimpy. Go ahead. With panties in his pocket.
That's correct. He was in Body Double. He was in something called Four Friends. You know it, don't you?
No.
And he played a TV host in Malcolm X. There you go.
Is that all he's been in? Come on.
No, he has been in 80 different movies. Last thing he was in 2006, he was in something called Sasquatch Mountain.
Very nice. So it's
Good
just
time.
the dad. Hey, God bless. Keep paying those bills.
God bless him. Melanie Griffith played Holly. You know her from Working Girl, Body Double, Something Wild, Lolita in 1997.
Bye.
So she didn't play the Lolita role at that point.
I would hope. I hope she played the Shelley Winters role.
I think she probably did. Greg Henry played Sam Bouchard. We actually did another movie with him. Do you know what it was?
You mean besides that he's Logan Huntsberger's father from Gilmore Girls?
Yeah, besides that.
He was in The Beyond.
He was in Slither. He played the mayor, Jack McCready, of the movie with the alien slugs taking over.
Oh, that's right.
He was
Well,
dynamite in that.
well, he's the hardest working man in showbiz. He's been
No
in everything.
question.
He knocks it out of the park.
He was in Guardians of the Galaxy. He was in Payback with Mel Gibson. He was in, what is this? Star Trek Insurrection in 1998.
I may have
Very
even
good.
seen that.
Deborah Shelton played Gloria. You know her from Body Double, and then a number of kind of Cinemaxy shows, Sins of the Night, Silk Degrees. You can check that good stuff out.
Taxi
and of course,
Confessions.
Taxi Cab, The Cat House. Dennis Franz. You know him. He's Andy Sipowicz in NYPD Blue. He was in City of Angels, Die Hard 2, Psycho 2, and all sorts of Brian De Palma movies.
And a lot of movies with the number 2 after it, I say.
A lot of movies with the number 2 in it.
And
let's
Hill
talk
Street
about
Blues.
He's also in Hill Street Blues. And the spinoff. He was in Beverly Hills Bunts. There you go. Body Double currently has a 76% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. The audience only gave it 65%. That's never a good time. Let's see if I can find a top critic that we might be aware of.
Rex Reed.
You gotta have Rex Reed, for God's sakes.
He's my new favorite.
Let's see. What do we got? We got Roger Ebert.
He's not as spicy.
He's not as spicy. Body Double is an exhilarating exercise in pure filmmaking, a thriller in the Hitchcock tradition, in which there's no particular point except that the hero is flawed, weak, and in terrible danger, and we identify with him completely. 3.5 out of 4.
What? Roger Ebert in my youth, we were simpatico, but now I see him as a suck up. I spit on your grave. I spit on your grave. Where's Rex Reed?
I honestly, I enjoy this movie quite a bit, but there's no question that Jake is some kind of freak. He is not somebody you should be sympathizing with or identifying with, in my opinion. What is your rating for Body Double?
Don't throw to me yet. I'm Googling Rex Reed review of Body Double.
Good luck.
You failed me. You failed me.
He didn't review it, I don't think. Could be. Audience, bear with us. We're having technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties. Son of a bitch. How come when I put down Rex Reed review of Body Double, I get something on the cultural politics of female sexuality in South Africa, and then the next thing says the horse review? What the hell?
I don't think we'll ever know the answer to that question.
I just say, do what Frankie says. Don't do it.
He also says relax, but okay.
And then don't do it. I am going to give you... I don't even know what to give you. I guess I'll give it my standard. I don't give a shit. 3 Harry Sipowicz backs and what?
We don't even see his back.
I know it's Harry. I can tell that he and Brian De Palma equally have a super hairy back, and I'm going to give you 3 of those out of 5. But Frankie says, relax, don't do it.
I'm going to give it 3.5 unnecessary, bizarre beach makeouts, because I think that's the most important thing of all. I think it's fun. It is something you would see on Cinemax. I mean, the sheer amount of nudity and the bizarre sexual situations you uncover in this, it's something. Let me tell you.
Where is was he broken up with his girlfriend at this time?
I think he was.
This seems like a like for a film director, most guys get divorced, they buy a motorcycle. This guy got broke up, got divorced, whatever, and made this. Well, I'm gonna hang out with porn stars now.
There's no question that if he'd still been with Nancy Allen, the star of Carrie, Blowout, Dressed to Kill, she would have been Holly. She would have been Holly Body if they'd still been together. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yes.
So yeah,
I think this is the midlife. This is the midlife crisis. This is I've broken up, and this is what men do.
I mean, not to be a prude, but I mean, I guess it's not the amount of porn is necessary for the plot because it's got to be. She has to do something in the window,
right,
that makes him want to keep watching. If she's just clipping her toenails, he's not going to keep tuning in. Right?
We learned from Seinfeld, you just have to be naked. You can be naked reading a book. You can be naked painting your toenails, mopping the floor. If we've learned anything from Seinfeld is if there's nudity, men will look at it.
Because it's like it's literally an extended dance montage before she lays down and presumably gets to business, right? In such a way that you'd have to ask, who is doing this? Who is at home going, I'm gonna ravage myself, but I gotta do my dance routine first.
It's clearly a setup. The whole time I'm watching it this is not, you don't try to be in front of a window. This is all staged specifically so someone can see this. So I kept expecting him to swing the telescope and then you find someone else watching from the telescope. That's what I thought was going to happen.
That's not what happened.
That is not what happened. That might have been more interesting.
Oh, sweet Lord. So there you have it. Thank you very much. Go to our page on Twitter at TPodcastTWDie. Go to our page on Facebook at The Podcast That Wouldn't Die. Aaron, we're on Instagram.
We are on the Insta. We are The Podcast That Wouldn't Die.
You can also email us at thepodcastthatwouldn'tdie at Gmail. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere the finer podcasts are available. So make sure that you rate, review, like, share, help us out for goodness sakes.
All the cool kids are doing it. Don't you want to be one of the cool kids?
Get on board at the ground floor. So there you go. Aaron, you are also on social media. What's the word?
I am on the Insta not once, but twice. I actually had 4 accounts at one point. That's too much.
That is too much.
I had this vision that like Instagram would be where I would store photos. So I had very specific digital photos were here, analog photos were here, and then this would be my private one, and then this would be for someone. No, I boiled it down to 2, and they are oh my God, I just had a brain fart. I'm like, I don't know the names of any of my Instagram accounts. Let me resurrect that.
Queen Aaron, right?
No. On Instagram, I am the Cult of Aaron. I am the Cult of Aaron. And I am Don't Feed the Pigeons. On the Twitski, it's Queen Aaron. But really, I changed it to the Cult of Aaron. But my tag remains Queen Aaron. All hail the Queen.
So check that out. Well, let me tell you this story.
Come and listen to a story about a man named Jed.
I own Body Double, so I can watch it whenever I want for free. Ooh la la.
What's happening? You're like a hoarder or something.
I may watch it again right now. Who's to say?
Oh my God. I might have to listen to 100 Years of Solitude again because I've already forgotten most of it for our book club.
I'm going to be out looking through my telescope. Who knows what I might see? So thank you very much. And be well.
Later, people. We're all getting the vid in the next 2 weeks, I predict.